All right, what's happening, everybody? Welcome to Gonzo and the Judge Sports Talk. Thursday, a special show on a Thursday. We're usually not live on Thursdays, but I got something going on tomorrow and can't make it, so we're doing one tonight, December 1st, 2022. Joined by always uh, by the sports judge Jonathan Mathis. How's it going? How's it going, man?
What's happening, Chris? Man, how are you feeling today? I want to remind our audience to always tune in on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays to join us for an episode of Gunzo and the Judge. You guys are more than welcome to pull up a chair. Um, sit in a cozy chair and join in on all the fun. But I'm doing good, man. I'm glad to be on as always. I take great pleasure in doing the show. I take great pride in doing this show. And as always, there's nothing like talking sports. You could never go wrong talking sports. And you know what, Gunzo, we had a Thursday night game tonight. A Thursday night game. We never do a show really on Thursday, but this time we're doing a show on Thursday, and we have a Thursday night game to talk about. The Bills are in full control. The last time I checked, the score was 24-7. And Josh Allen, man, he just worked his magic once again. He connected with Gabe Davis on the play. And once again, Allen flashed his mobility to keep a play alive, which he is so damn good at that. And he zipped the touchdown pass to his wide receiver. That's nothing new.
Oh yeah,
We always see that
the
from Josh Allen.
game's getting ready to. It's getting close to being over. It's over. Basically, they're taking knee. Buffalo's taking knees. It's 24-10, minute and 10 left. New England still has 3 timeouts left, and he's not even using the timeouts. So it's over. But no, Josh Allen has an arm, dude. He threw some passes, and the accuracy on some of them tonight were, it's just like, man. But no, it's a big win for Buffalo. A divisional game. They're trying to keep pace, get back in first place with Miami. And Miami has a tough game coming up this weekend against the San Francisco 49ers. So a big win for Buffalo, especially with missing all the players they have hurt right now. And Von Miller just got put on IR, so he's out at least 3 more weeks. So he's going to miss at least the next 3 games.
It's a resounding win for a team that needed this win badly, to kind of seize control in their division and, get a bit of a cushion.
Yeah.
With Miami pretty much on their backs. It won't be easy down the stretch, but this was a good win for Buffalo. Buffalo, like I said, they needed this game. They got it, and they went on the road and did it.
Still trying to figure out what the hell's going on.
You still have that.
So if I'm
now,
if I'm looking away, it's because I'm pressing buttons trying to figure out what the hell's going on over here. But I don't know. I guess I think that sometimes the equipment just has a mind of its own, and decides that it's going to make a little squeaky noise in my ear. That's just, it's just aggravating, is all it is.
Yeah, sometimes technical difficulties.
You think if we've done 4 or 5 shows today, that it had been done on all of them, not the last one. Don't make a whole lot of sense, but anyway, we're here.
We're here. We're surviving. We're doing just fine.
But now we got some big things going on. Got the World Cup still going on. United States plays Saturday. We'll see if Pulisic can get healthy enough to play. He said he's going to do everything he can to play. But from what I hear, talking to some guys that know more about soccer than I do, because I'm not a big soccer Uh, I don't know. I'm not the guy you want to listen talk about soccer, basically, because I don't know enough about it. But I was talking to the stat guy, Dustin Reese, earlier, and he's a huge soccer fan, and he pretty much said that he don't think the United States has a good chance against the Netherlands. He said, especially the way we've been playing. He said we've been playing good defensive soccer, but he thinks we're going to be more offensive against Netherlands to have a chance. So it'd be interesting to see how that game plays out Saturday morning. Uh, Hopefully, the United States can pull off what from people I'm talking to would be an upset. It'd be nice for him to try to keep moving on here in the World Cup. It was nice to see him get out of the pool play, even though it kind of took a little bit of help since they had 2 draws. But to his point, United States has only scored 2 goals so far in the World Cup. It's going to be hard to keep advancing if you can't score some goals.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very difficult if you can't score goals. I mean, that's key to victory, right? You're going to have to score some goals. And as competition gets stiffer, that's going to become a constant thing for Team USA, right? Scoring goals. That might be a tall order for a team that has struggled to score goals, especially if they're without their superstar. They're going to need their superstar because he brings that competitive juice. He adds another dimension to that offense of theirs, and they're definitely going to need him if they're going to survive against a very, very good Dutch team. Now, the Netherlands, they're a very, very good team. And this is scary if you're Team USA, because if you fall asleep against the Netherlands and you don't score goals, well, then good luck to you, because the Netherlands is a very good team. And again, it's only going to get harder the more you advance in this tournament. It won't be easy. So they're going to have to attack early. They're going to have to attack often and early. And they're gonna have to try to hold it together.
Yes,
but we'll see. We'll see what Saturday has in store for them.
Oh yeah, it's going to be interesting. And he says it's single elimination now. I'm pretty sure it is single elimination now, because I think in the knockout rounds it's single elimination. Damien says Thursday night football sucks. I mean, it wasn't a terrible game. It was about what I figured it was going to be. Was that New England wasn't going to be able to score enough points to keep up with Buffalo. I mean, was what I figured was going to happen. Was Buffalo was going to be able to score points on the New England defense, but New England's offense wasn't going to be able to put up enough points, and that's kind of how it played out. I mean, we've seen a lot worse Thursday night games than we did tonight. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, we've seen a lot of games that's been worse. Amazon hasn't had a good run with the NFL so far. It's been an utter disaster since Amazon has signed this deal to broadcast football games on Thursday nights. I mean, the Thursday night games have been boring as hell. They haven't been exciting to watch. There's been very little drama, to these Thursday night games. And then finally you got a little bit of action. Now, it could have been better, but you did have Josh Allen on the big stage, and we all know that he loves the moment. He likes being on the big stage. He likes primetime football. And I think he just enjoys being on national TV. And when the games are nationally televised, he usually performs at the highest level. So the Bills, they took care of business. They got a big division victory tonight. They defeated the Patriots 24-10. I mean, this was a huge AFC East matchup, and again, Josh Allen does his thing. Josh Allen to me, and people say I'm crazy for saying this, but Josh Allen to me is the best quarterback in the NFL right now. I mean, I know there's times that he could be a little reckless, and I think a lot of that is because he tries to do too much. There's times that he tries to play hero ball. He tries to be the superhero. Just, take what the defense gives you, take one down at a time, and don't try to do too much. Just execute on each drive and try to march your team down the field by making smart decisions with the football. If he does that and he cleans up some of those mistakes that he make that can be self-inflicted, I think this Buffalo Bills team will be fine, and I think Josh Allen will be fine as well.
Yeah, and it was a big win for Buffalo because it's actually the first division game they've won this season. And then next week they can play another division game against the Jets. Dustin, yeah, Thursday show. What's the occasion? We're
What's
having a
up,
show.
Dustin?
We're having a show tonight because I won't be. I'll be out of town tomorrow. And we weren't going to be able to do a Friday show like normal, so we decided to do a show tonight. Since we weren't going to be able to be live tomorrow. Hopefully, I'll be at this time tomorrow. I'll be packing up and getting ready to head back toward the house. I don't know where it went. Dustin says Josh Allen is Brett Favre in a bigger body. Yeah, I mean he there's sometimes he'll take some risks. I think he's turned the ball over. I think they said earlier like 15 times this year.
Yeah,
like
he has to eliminate. Yeah, he has to definitely eliminate some of those turnovers. But like Dustin said, he's a daredevil. The guy's a daredevil. He's willing to, put his body on the line. He's willing to leap over bodies and run for his life if he has to. This guy can sprint. This guy can run the distance with the football. That's a bit worrisome if you're a Bills fan though, because you have to look years down the line. Is this going to be good for him in the upcoming years when they're going to really, really need him to stay game ready, be in shape, and be robust? They're going to have to keep him healthy. But if he keeps running like this and keep absorbing some of those hits that he has, I'm a little bit concerned about that because that can lead to health problems later on. And, now you're talking about possibly getting seriously injured, which can cost you some time. And if you're out of action, that hurts your team as well. So that's something to take into consideration with Josh Allen. But Josh Allen's going to do what Josh Allen does, and he's mobile. He demonstrates that all the time. He's mobile. He's able to run the ball. He's able to elude the pressure. He's not afraid to take off with the football. If he sees that he can't throw to anyone, or if no receiver is open where he feels he's not comfortable to throw it to that guy, he just runs. He just runs. And he makes something happen and he turns it into a huge play. And it usually results in a chunk of yards for him and the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, and he has the most seasons with at least 25 passing touchdowns and 5 rushing touchdowns now in the NFL or in NFL history with 3. Lamar Jackson had 2, Steve Young had 2. This is third season with doing that.
Crazy.
And honestly, if I had a cannon like Allen has, I would probably play like Brett Favre too, because you would think, hey, I can get this ball in anywhere. I mean, some of them throws he made tonight, it's like, damn, he's probably the only one that can make them.
Yeah.
Because man, he has a cannon.
Yep, and a multitude of those throws, right, was on the money. It was right on the money. He puts the ball where the ball needs to be. He makes sure the ball gets in the arms of his receivers. And you talk about pinpoint accuracy, right? That's definitely a perfect illustration of pinpoint accuracy. He makes it look easy. He's an all-around quarterback. He's definitely a franchise quarterback, but the Buffalo Bills got to do their best to protect him because this is a guy who likes to run. Again, he's going to run wild. That's just part of his game. That's who he is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I know a lot of people were counting Buffalo out because they had a little rough stretch there, and they've had a lot of injuries, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Von Miller's out for at least 3 more games since he went on IR. But I'll tell you what, I still believe the Bills are going to be right there in the playoffs and are going to be a tough out for whoever they end up playing.
Oh, they're going to be a tough out, and they remember what happened last year. I mean, that was a tough pill to swallow, to lose on a coin toss. But not only lose on a coin toss, your defense clearly fell asleep in a big game, um, as if they forgot what day it was, and the defense clearly didn't show up. uh, you're talking about a team that led the league in total defense. You're talking about a team that had two of the greatest safeties in their secondary. Um, that defense had a major meltdown, so it wasn't all on Josh Allen what we saw last year. Although he was culpable because, of course, the quarterback takes 90% of the blame when something goes awry on an NFL team. That's just the reality, right? But this year, I think they look to uh, bounce back. They know what happened last year, and I think this is the year they hope to make some noise and hopefully get to the Super Bowl. And if they get to the Super Bowl, take advantage of it, um, seize that opportunity, and hopefully win it.
Yeah. Gonzo, did you ever reach out to the cheesehead? No, no, actually, Dustin, I didn't because after I got you gave me that information and got to looking. We're already booked for a wrestling show uh, that weekend. So that might be something I'm gonna have to try to get into next season because I've already booked somewhere and I don't want to cancel on somebody to go to another show. I so but no, I appreciate you sending me that information. That'd be definitely something we'll check into
That's cool.
for next year. But we're already booked that weekend. Actually, my dad actually was the one that told me that we were booked that weekend. He goes, he looked at the date and he goes, "We're already booked that weekend." I was like, "Oh yeah, we are." Uh, Damien says, "Do you think Belichick is on the hot seat after having a few bad seasons since Brady left?" No, I don't think. I don't
Oh,
think he's in the hot seat.
I don't think he's on the hot seat, but I will say this: tonight it wasn't great situational football from the Patriots. The Patriots usually excel at situational football, and tonight they didn't. Um,
I ain't gonna lie. I thought it was funny because all I heard after Sunday night's Colts game was all about how Jeff Saturday messed up the clock management at the end of the game because he don't have no experience, and that's why he shouldn't be there. Well, you saw Bill Belichick mess up the time management right before halftime. Uh,
right,
it happens to all kinds of coaches. Andy Reid that used to be one of the criticisms on Andy Reid was clock management at the end of games and at the end of halves. So I kind of laughed tonight when that Belichick had messed it up a little bit and the announcers was talking about it. I'm thinking, okay, we always everybody was all over Saturday, but here's the guy that most people consider the best coach ever, and he's made some had some clock management issues in that game, especially there right there at the end of the first half. But
too
no,
conservative. They
yeah,
were too
yeah.
conservative. Um,
Well,
and
not just that, just how he used his timeouts there at the end of the first half didn't make a lot of sense.
right,
But no, I agree with Dustin. I don't think Belichick will ever be on the hot seat there in New England because of why he's brought New England. Uh,
right.
you know what I mean? You have what 6 or 7 Super Bowls that he's won there. He still has a competitive team. I mean, it ain't like they're going 2 and 2-16 or 2-15 or something like that. You know, I mean, they're still competitive. Yeah, they're not winning their division yet, but the main reason is uh, when you have them players like that, now they got kind of they're in kind of almost a rebuild, not a complete rebuild, but they got to get some more pieces before they're going to be able to compete for a Super Bowl again. And sometimes that takes a little bit of time. But I don't think Belichick's on the hot seat.
Yeah, and then what I like about Bill Belichick too, he puts an emphasis on defense, right? He preaches the importance of defense, and under Bill Belichick, the Patriots have always been a defensive oriented team. So I can't say that about Bill Belichick and the way he coaches his team as well. So, kudos to him for that.
And like my dad's saying, the Colts was more the kind of plays they called. I agree. The play calling is more the issue I had with the end of the Colts game Sunday night than it was the way they used the timeouts. So it was more the play calling to me. And I don't know. Yeah,
Well,
Bill.
my initial reaction, my initial reaction to Jeff Saturday being hired was, I thought it was strange. I thought it was a strange move. But you and I, Chris, we talked about it, and we both agreed that it was a cultural move, right? They brought him in to kind of oversee the offensive line, to help those guys come together as a unit, and he was also brought in to be that voice, in the locker room. And also a lot of it had to do with familiarity too. We talked about that too, because he played there. He was a teammate to Peyton Manning during his time there. And so the hire, while it was a curious move, it was a move that slightly made some sense. And I thought Jeff Saturday did a good job rallying those guys, kind of redirecting things for that organization and coming in to be that voice of reason. So that's why I like the move. Originally, I didn't know how I felt about it, but it kind of grew on me, and I'm pretty sure it grew on some Indianapolis Colts fans, particularly when they won um in his debut, his coaching debut.
Yeah, and a change I see happening in New England is going to be with the offensive coordinator. I think you might see Josh McDaniels back there as the offensive coordinator next year, because I don't know if he'll be back with the Las Vegas Raiders next year. So I think you might see Josh McDaniels back in New England with Bill Belichick.
No, you don't know. To answer Dustin's question, you know who's gonna get fired before Matt Eberflus? I will tell you who will get fired. Nathaniel Hackett is gonna get fired.
Yeah. No, what Dustin
Yeah,
is saying is that Eberflus would be he's saying he would be fired before Belichick is ever on the hot seat. Because Eberflus is the Bears coach.
Yeah.
That's why he said I was for Damien. I think Hackett.
Got it. Okay, got you.
Yeah, I think Hackett is going to be on the hot seat. I think Hackett's probably gone after this season. I think Denver wishes they could get rid of Russell Wilson after this season as well, but they're stuck with a big contract.
Yep, that's a tough situation too. If you're a Broncos fan, and if you're John Elway, and that front office, that's they put themselves in a predicament by trading for him, taking their chances on him, and unfortunately, it just hasn't panned out. It hasn't gone according as planned. They probably thought it was getting a Russell Wilson, the one that was one of the top quarterbacks in the league when in his prime. Now that you take him out of Pete Carroll and that Seahawks system, you get a terrible, washed up, struggling Russell Wilson.
No, I agree. Let's talk a little college football real quick, and then we'll jump back into some NFL. college football, you got the conference championship games coming up. You got one tomorrow night with I know one you'll be watching tomorrow night. Utah at USC. Utah beat USC earlier in the season. That's USC's one loss. Do you think USC is going to avenge that loss and and solidify their chances to be in the college football playoffs? You're mu- you're muted, Judge.
Yes, I think they will avenge that loss. I talked about this a little earlier today. I don't know if you've seen my short video on this. I briefly discussed it, went over it. I think they will avenge this loss. Look, USC is one of the hottest teams in the country right now. They simply have forgotten how to lose since they last saw Utah. And that loss was heartbreaking because it came on a 2-point conversion. So I mean, USC kept the game close. They made it a ball game. It was hard. It was a hard fought game. USC just fell short in that game.
It was
I think I think they know what to expect this time. They faced them before. So, they know what they're getting. So they kind of know how to game plan for them. They know how to scheme for them. They know what Utah's going to throw at them. I think USC will win tomorrow night's contest. Caleb Williams is oozing with confidence. He is a heavy favorite to win the Heisman now. He has solidified his status as a quarterback. To me, he's the best quarterback in the country. And I know that sounds ludicrous to a lot of people, but to me, damn it, he is the best quarterback in the country. And Lincoln Riley has done a good job reshaping the culture. I think USC beats Utah tomorrow. But here's the thing. While USC leads the nation in the turnover margin, this team has not convinced me enough that they can hold a high flying offense, because they can't always get those stops. That's been concerning all season long for USC, is that they can't get the stops when necessary. So that's something to keep an eye out for. If they could get the stops and force turnovers and be as dynamic as they've been on the offensive side of the ball, they will beat Utah tomorrow.
They lost the first game. What was it, 43-42? So there wasn't a whole lot of.
It was very high scoring.
There wasn't a whole lot of defense played in that game. Dustin says, "Sorry, Jonathan, but Cam Rising's going to rise to the occasion and take down USC. Utah has the Trojans number."
I don't know. We'll see. I mean, it's going to be a great contest. And it is a tough draw for USC. But look, they know what's at stake. They know how important this game is. And this game has playoff implications. If you lose this game, you could kiss your playoff hopes goodbye. Yeah. They have playoff aspirations on the line. So I think USC knows what needs to be done tomorrow night. I don't think you could sleep on them. I think you have to take them seriously, because they've made it very clear that they're one of the best teams in the country, that they have once again, turned into a powerhouse. So, I mean, it's going to be a great game. Either way, it's going to be a dogfight. It's going to come down to who makes the most. What it's going to come down to is who makes the most explosive plays.
Yeah, I took USC to win the game, but what does worry me about USC a little bit in this game is their defense. They have an explosive offense. I mean, you can't, no doubt about that. But their defense, at times, can be real shaky sometimes, and that's one thing that does kind of worry me about USC. Even if they do win tomorrow, as you move on to the college football playoffs, if you play a team like Georgia, I think that defense maybe come back and bite USC a little bit. And that's always been kind of the knock on Lincoln Riley teams. I mean, when he was in Oklahoma, he could always have a great offense and score points, but they can never get that defense up to the level it needed to be able to compete up at the highest level. Uh, Dustin says Lincoln Riley is 0-3 in either playoff games or conference championship games. Uh, and one of the reasons he's 0-3 in them games is because he's never had that defense.
Right. He's always had an explosive offense.
And sometimes I mean, if you get in shootouts, you're not going to win all of them. You know what I mean? Sometimes you're going to come up a little bit short when you get in a shootout. If your defense can't make a big play when you need it to.
Right.
Also have another.
That's the thing with USC. Their defense has been opportunistic. They come up with the big plays at the right time. They force turnovers at the right time. But again, in big games, you're not going to always get those turnovers. And I know they feast on those turnovers, but you're not going to always get those turnovers. Sometimes you got to come up with the big stop.
And you're a big USC guy, so I want to ask you this real quick before we move on to another team. Dustin says Riley will go to the NFL this year.
Nah, I don't see him leaving. I mean, I know a lot of people said he left because the going was getting tough, and a lot of people came up with their conspiracy theories about his departure because they said that, you know, the team that he was coaching before had decided to move on from the conference that it's in now to go to the SEC, and he didn't want that challenge that he would have to face coaching in a tougher SEC conference. I don't know. But right now, he's a USC Trojan. You got to give him a lot of credit for USC's phenomenal year because he has come in and he has kind of ripped that program back into shape.
That guy says he almost got the Packers job a few years ago.
He was rumored to become the Cowboys head coach at one time too.
Yep. You know, he's been his name's been mentioned a lot for a lot of different jobs. So I mean, it wouldn't be a big surprise to me if he ended up in the NFL this year. I know for you USC fans, you guys don't want to hear that because you guys have had a good year this year. You want him to stay there and see what he can build.
Well, they'll hire another big name coach, knowing USC and the people that they have running the athletic department now.
Yeah, but
I don't know. I think Lincoln Riley is here to stay. You know, I don't think he's just gonna up and leave. I don't think he's gonna pull a Cliff Kingsbury, if that's what you guys believe. I don't see that happen. Assuming that they
playoff. Wait a minute. You can't compare him to Cliff Kingsbury because Kingsbury didn't even coach a game.
No, but he did get hired as the offensive.
Yeah, he got hired.
And then the next day he tells USC to basically kiss his ass.
At least Lincoln Riley would finish the season out.
Yes, you can say that.
And Lincoln Riley is a hell of a lot better coach than what Kingsbury is as well. Dustin says Riley is the McVay of the NCAA. Everybody wants him. Oh yeah, his name gets thrown up anytime there's an opening. His name gets thrown in there.
So does Urban Meyer. Luke Fickell did as well, but he finally got hired somewhere else, which is in Wisconsin, where he's going to be the head coach now. We'll see how that goes for him.
Another big game we have, another conference championship game, and it has playoff implications. You have Kansas State at TCU. TCU beat Kansas State earlier in the season, but they were down by like 11 in the fourth quarter and came back and won that game. Do you think TCU is going to be able to hold on to win this game and hold on and stay in the top four? You're muted.
TCU has so much on the line as well. They have to win. It's a must win for them. They have to get a W. They basically, for TCU to get recognized, they have to finish the season undefeated, I think. And if they don't win this game on Saturday, then they definitely will lose out in the college football playoffs. They definitely won't be in the college football playoff picture if they lose this game. So I think it's important for them to win the ball game. They have to basically, and they've been flirting with perfection all year long. You know, they've been very flirtatious with God darn it, perfection all year. And I like their quarterback. I think their quarterback is sensational. This is a guy who's overcome so much after a chaotic 2020, dealing with injuries. What an amazing story for this young man. And he definitely should be invited to New York as a Heisman hopeful, at least as one of the finalists with the year that he's had, because he has put this team on his back. And that kid, man, he could make the throws down the field. You know, he has that accuracy. The team believes in him. He believes in himself. He's playing at a he's playing at an all-time high. He has a lot of confidence. So I like TCU's chances. I do think they will pull it out. I think, like what Dustin just said, they will silence the doubters this weekend. They always find a way to get it done. And you can't say enough about Sonny Dykes as the head coach, man. He's put this program back on the map. He's helped turn this program back into a consistent winner. And he's done a good job guiding this program to get to where they are now. So I like TCU. I think they will beat Kansas State again. I think it's their game to lose. I think the only team that can beat TCU is TCU themselves.
No, I have TCU winning this game. I don't know how they're going to stack up if they have to play like Georgia or Michigan. We'll see how they do stack up in the top four.
It would be like watching the Bearcats and their amazing storybook season a year ago. Remember how the Bearcats went undefeated? They got to the college playoffs and then they got blown out. You know.
Hey, what's up, Rob Scott?
What's up?
Thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining us, brother.
What's up, my man? Thanks for joining us. Thanks for the love and support. I appreciate you, man. I really do. I appreciate you. Keep doing your thing. Keep doing your thing. But you remember how the Bearcats made it to the college football playoffs? Yeah. A lot of people weren't on board with that because they felt like they didn't belong, because they said that they didn't really play anybody, that they were in a weaker conference, that they weren't like one of those Power 5 schools, and that they didn't deserve to be a playoff team. They did, because they went undefeated and they earned their right to play with some of the big dogs in the country. But that's what this is like. That's what this reminds me of. TCU is that underdog team that's been overlooked, that doesn't nearly get the same respect or the recognition that the other schools in the playoff picture does, like Michigan, USC, and of course, who's number one again? I forgot.
Georgia.
There you go. I should know that, because Georgia has the best defense in the nation, led by Kirby Smart. So yeah, they would get, sad to say, TCU, and I don't mean to break the hearts of TCU fans, but TCU would get slaughtered.
Dustin says the only team that needs to worry this weekend is USC. A loss into their playoff hopes. If TCU loses, they still get in. I think if
USC loses, Ohio State gets in, back in. Huh? Ohio State gets back in. If USC loses, Ohio State gets back in, because they're a one-loss team, and they would definitely re-earn that spot back in the college football.
Okay, playoff. But do you think a one-loss TCU team gets in?
See, that's tough. That's tough, because even though they've had this magical season, it's hard to say that they would get back in. I just say that because of the conference that they're in, and you have these other, power schools that's in the same boat as well. So I mean, it's hard to really
Well, let me ask
say
you this.
how it will turn out.
Let me ask you this: if USC and say USC loses and TCU loses,
Right.
Ohio State, I agree would get in. Who would be the other team that you could put in over TCU or USC? They have Alabama at 6. Ohio State's at 5 right now. Are you going to put a 2-loss Alabama team in ahead of a 1-loss TCU team?
See, that would be absolute bias. I can see that happening because of who Alabama is. I wouldn't necessarily agree with it. I wouldn't agree with it. Why? Because I don't think Alabama deserves to be in the playoffs if TCU loses, because TCU only has one loss. If that does let's say if that does happen, right? TCU has one loss. How does Alabama leap over TCU, over the Horned Frogs? See, that don't make sense, but that's what the committee wants. They want Alabama to be in the playoff picture. They definitely want Alabama to get the number 4 spot, because it's all about which team can make the NCAA the most money.
Dustin says Georgia didn't blow out Cincy. They lost by 11 and played them better than Bama did. Then he said that TCU has a harder schedule than USC. They'll get in regardless. I'm not saying that they shouldn't get in if they lose. I'm just saying I can see this committee, if both USC loses and TCU both lose, I can see this committee putting Ohio State and Alabama in. And I'm not saying it should be. I do think if USC loses, Ohio State should be in. I think Ohio State should be in the top 4. I think they're a top 4 team in the nation. I believe that. We'll see if they do get in, because they
look,
team's going to have to lose.
There's so much hypocrisy in college football, and there's so much bias in college football. It wouldn't surprise me one bit if Ohio State and Alabama gets in if USC and TCU both lost this weekend.
Okay, now let me ask this question. Say USC wins and TCU loses. Do you keep TCU in with a 1 loss, or does a 1-loss Ohio State team get in over TCU?
Knowing the history behind college football, Ohio State would get over. Would leap over TCU. Unfortunately. Now, do I think that's right? Not necessarily, because then we would most likely get the rematch of Ohio State and Michigan. Mm-hmm. And we already seen that. Michigan beat them. So I would prefer to see TCU against Michigan. You see?
Yeah. No, I like I said,
right.
Okay. We'll come back to this Luke Fickell thing here in just a second, but Rob Scott says I think the real movement will happen if LSU beats Georgia.
That would definitely be a major. It would definitely be a major shakeup.
Yeah, but it's going to be interesting because if LSU beats Georgia, I know. Okay, you beat the number 1 team, and they also, I think they beat who else? They beat Alabama. Did they beat Alabama? I think
LSU?
they did, didn't they?
Yeah. They did.
Yes. So you have wins over Alabama and Georgia, but you have 3 losses. Does a 3-loss LSU team get in the playoffs if they beat Georgia?
No.
I don't think so either. But
no, man, that's not that won't.
But it goes back to the committee, like in that conference.
Yep. Because
I don't think a 3-loss LSU team should get in, but.
Yep, you're right, because the SEC is the crown jewel of college football.
Yeah, but we won't have to worry about it too much longer, because here in a couple seasons we'll have a 12-team playoff, and
yep. So then there won't be so much complaining, but then you'll still have teams that feel like they got snubbed, and you have teams that even though you have 12 teams getting in, you'll still have teams that's left out, and they'll
Yeah,
be
but
complaining
I don't think
because
it'll
they
be
felt like they should have been.
it
You know?
won't be as bad as just the 4-0. Uh,
Right.
Dustin, so what are your thoughts on the Fickle hire? I like the hire by Wisconsin. I think it's a great hire. I think he'll do well there. The way he was able to recruit at Cincinnati, now being in the Big Ten with Wisconsin, I think he's going to be able to probably recruit even a little better.
Yeah.
So I think it was a great hire.
I think it was an excellent hire too. I think it was an excellent hire as well. Now will be interesting to see how he does in this Power Five group. Um, I think that's the
And
bigger question.
I
I think
also
that's the
think
bigger.
that and I also think that the Matt Rule hire at Nebraska was a great hire. But the only thing is, I hope Nebraska gives him some time uh, to be able to turn him around because I mean he has to get some of his get his players in there in the system. But I think Matt Rule was a real good hire for Nebraska
I think
as
so.
well.
I think so too. I
I
think
know
those
it.
are both two good
I know
hires.
his NFL experiment didn't go real great, but if you look at his college track record, what he did at Baylor and what he did at Temple, uh,
Yeah.
I think he'll do good there in Nebraska if they
Oh,
give him some
oh,
time.
absolutely. He has a lengthy resume. Yeah, and if you give these guys some time, if you have patience, let them do their thing. Let them turn it around. Because look, Luke Fickle led the Bearcats to the college football playoffs in 2021. We just finished talking about that. As Cincinnati became the first Group 5 school uh, to reach the 14 playoff. So I mean, his resume is impressive as well.
Yeah.
I think Fickle can resurrect a program like Wisconsin, but it's gonna take some time. It's not gonna be an overnight thing. It's gonna be a process. And if those fans and if the alumni and the boosters can't trust the process, then Luke Fickle would eventually have enough time to turn Wisconsin into a consistent winner like he did in Cincinnati. He turned that program into a legitimate force on the field. And, in the local recruiting scene as well. So he helped deliver the Bearcats to a Power Five conference. So he's done a lot of great things for Wisconsin, but now he's moving on to a program that is in the Big Ten, and the Big Ten is arguably the second best conference behind the SEC. So I mean, it won't be easy. It's gonna be a tough task for him ahead, but I think he's up for the challenge. I think he likes the challenge, and I think he showed great interest in Wisconsin, and he feels confident in himself that he can, restore faith and hope at that program, and once again, um, turn the program around for the better. Now he's not going to be Barry Alvarez, okay? He's not going to be Barry Alvarez. So don't think he's going to be the next Barry Alvarez, because there will never be another Barry Alvarez. Same with Matt Rule. Don't think there's going to be another Osborne, because there never will be. But these guys are great coaches in their own right. They have established themselves at the collegiate level. And so I think it's going to work out for both programs, both Wisconsin and Nebraska.
Oh no, yeah, I think both of them were good hires. Damian says he don't get why college football don't have all 25 teams uh, in the playoffs. I mean, you got the rankings up to 25. I think 25 would be way too many. I thought 8 would be about perfect. But they went with 12. We'll see how it works out. But yeah, I think 25 is just way too many because you get like a 24th ranked team playing a second ranked team. You're going to see some blowouts. It's not going going to be as competitive.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know.
ridiculous. That's too many teams. Then it's kind of like March Madness. And football would never be like March Madness. And that's ridiculous to have a 25 team playoff. They don't even have that in the NFL. That's crazy. That's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah, I love March Madness, but I just don't think that format works in football. Just because I think it's harder to pull off an upset in football than it is basketball. You can have two or three players get hot and take over a game in basketball, and it's hard to do that in football because there's so many different. I mean, you got 22 players. I mean, it's just so many different moving parts. Uh, Before we get out of here, NFL, this is a big weekend in the NFL. You got a lot of divisional matchups. Any games you looking forward to? I'm looking forward to the Miami and 49ers game. I think that could be a real good game. Uh, like I said, I think the 49ers have a chance to make a real deep run in the playoffs, and Miami's been tough, so that should be a good game. But you got a lot of division games this weekend. You're muted.
You got the Commanders and the Giants. I think
Yeah.
that would be an interesting game. Um, Daniel Jones has thrown for 2,165 yards, 10 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Then you have Saquon Barkley, who's running the ball extremely well after coming back from injuries. Um, he has 7 touchdowns on the season, 992 yards. Their best receiver is Darius Slayton. They still don't have that standout wide receiver. But this is a good game because the Commanders have picked up some steam here lately as well. So I think that's a great game to tune into. Another great game will be the Tennessee Titans and the Philadelphia Eagles. The Tennessee Titans like to run the football. They like to pound the football through Derrick Henry, who is the driving force of that offense. He's the engine to that offense. Let's see if the Eagles, because their defense has struggled to slow down the run, and we've seen that. They lost one of their best defenders who went on injured reserve. He was their guy that can stop the run, and ever since he has gone down, it's been different for the Eagles. They haven't been able to stop the run like they usually can. And then the Jets and the Vikings is another good game to look out for as well. The Jets have been this year's darlings of football. They have, been overachievers for much of the season. Got off kind of to a slow start and then picked it up halfway through the season, but they've looked good. That defense, particularly with Sauce Gardner in the secondary. And then, of course, that's going to be a good matchup. I mentioned Sauce Gardner. That's going to be a good matchup to watch him, cover Justin Jefferson. That's another storyline right there. That's going to be exciting. I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier on the afternoon show with the stat guy because Gardner hasn't gave up a touchdown in 5 years. So it's going to be interesting to see if Jefferson will be the first one to get a touchdown on him here in the.
And if there's one wide receiver that can do it, it's Jefferson, because Jefferson has been incredible. He has set some records. He has had a record-setting year. He has had that one hell of a catch. Remember that? I think that might be the catch of the year. How the hell did he make that catch? I don't know, but it was spectacular to see. And to me, Jordan Jefferson is the most explosive wide receiver in the NFL, the best wide receiver in the NFL.
Another game that I'm real interested in is a rematch of the AFC Championship game from last year with the Chiefs at the Bengals. I think that's going to be a real good game. Jamar Chase is making his return, so I think that's going to be a real good game there with the Bengals and Chiefs as well. like I said, you got a lot of good games this week, and you got a lot of
Not a great
division
matchup.
games as well.
Yep. A lot of division games and a lot of great matchups this weekend.
And then you also got Deshaun Watson making his return uh, after not playing for over. He hasn't played a football game for like over 700 days. Got him making his return, and it's at Houston, a team that he demanded a trade from. And then, of course, everybody knows all the other stuff that came out, all the issues, legal issues he's had. So that's going to be interesting. I think he's going to come out to a lot of boos there in Houston, and then it's going to be interesting to see how rusty he looks after not playing for a couple of years, and is his body going to be able to hold up taking some hits because
Right.
your body, I mean, he's not used to taking those hits anymore, so it's going to take some time to callous your body up to get used to taking them hits. And quarterbacks don't get hit in practice. I know he's been practicing the last few weeks, but quarterbacks don't get hit in practice, so it's a lot different in a live game when you have somebody come and try and take your head off. So it's going to be interesting to see what he looks like in his first game back as well.
Oh yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what he looks like and how he's able to absorb those hits and what the fan reaction is going to be like as well.
Yep. And I ain't gonna lie, I think the Titans are going to beat the Eagles. I think the Titans. I like the Titans defense, and I think they're going to be able to run the ball and control that clock, kind of like the Commanders were able to do. Hell, the Colts almost done it, and I think the Colts and Cowboys is going to be a lot better game than what people think as well. If you look at the Colts, yes, we don't have a good record, and we just got beat by the Steelers. But if you look when we've played some of the tougher teams, we've played better, and it seems like we play down to some of the competition. I mean, we beat the Chiefs, almost beat the Eagles, was right there at one point. Uh, they have us as culture 10.5 point underdogs, and I think it's going to be a closer game than 10.5 points. I'm not going to say that we're going to beat the Cowboys, but I think it's going to be a lot closer game than what everybody expects. And
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised if we're not there right at the end with a chance to win the game.
Well, what do they always say? NFL, any given Sunday, right? Any given Sunday. I mean, any team is capable of beating, a top tier opponent. It could happen. So yeah, it could be a lot closer than what it seems. The Colts have played inspired football since Jeff Saturday has taken over. Yes, they have had a few hiccups. They have lost some games, and they have had some self-inflicted mistakes and some puzzling decision making. But can they keep things close against the Cowboys? Absolutely. If they play smart football and if they, don't make those costly turnovers and have better game planning, then yes, they can hang with the Dallas Cowboys. But I'm not going to say that they're going to beat them. But yes, what you're saying is that they can make the game more competitive. Absolutely. Particularly if they get Jonathan Taylor involved early and run the freaking football. Don't abandon the run game. That's something the Colts do too much. Too much. Too much.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Who and one more topic real quick. NBA. We hadn't even mentioned NBA tonight. I know it's early in the season, but I saw some odds for the MVP favorite. Who do you have as the front runner right now for MVP?
I have two, Luka and Tatum.
See, I like Luka. I think he should be the front runner, but a lot of the sports books have Tatum as the front runner, and a lot of that is due to because of the Boston's record compared to the Mavericks record.
Yeah,
if you look at the numbers that Luka are putting up,
the numbers are ridiculous. The numbers are insane, but the problem is that they're a sub 500 team.
Yeah, but it's not. That's to me. That's not Luca's fault. Luca's doing
Right.
everything he can to try to
And,
get that team to
and
win.
it's also, to me, it's also an individual award.
I,
And it not only is it an individual award, but it's a regular season award. And he's putting up the numbers and he's
I,
playing like an MVP.
I think Luca's starting to make a case that he's the best player in the league right now.
It's yeah, yeah. I mean, you can make that argument. There's going to be people that disagree with you, but you can
Yeah,
make that argument because there's an influx of talent right now in the NBA.
and I'm not taking nothing away from Jason Tatum because Tatum's playing
Oh,
lights out this year as well.
Tatum is on fire right now. Tatum. We know Tatum can score.
And
We know what he's
yeah,
capable of doing.
and also your favorite player, uh, Devin Booker. A lot of people have him up there as MVP.
And he's another one. He puts up numbers as well. But I don't know. The competition is just too much for him, I think. I think with Tatum and Luca and the way that both of those guys are playing right now, I think he's third on that list.
I thought I was gonna get your rant winning the playoffs.
Oh, it's from the other night. Yeah, well, it's true. He doesn't really show up.
See, man, I was trying to lead you right into it. You didn't do it.
Yeah, he doesn't show up when it truly counts. But
Oh, yeah.
yeah, man, this has been a great show. This has been a great show once again.
Uh,
Thank our viewers too.
anything else you want to talk about before we get out of here?
We talked about it all. Well, there's always stuff to talk about in the sports world, but we try to keep this a 1 hour show, and I think we pretty much got the most important topics out of the way. And we will have more on Monday for you guys. A lot to talk about.
Well, you got any final thoughts before we sign off, then, man?
Man, you guys should keep up with your boy on Facebook. Follow his fan page, The Sports Judge. You guys can also keep up with me on Instagram, Sports Judge 85. You guys can keep in touch with me on my personal fan page and my YouTube channel. Chris know where they can find me on my YouTube channel. Check out my YouTube channel, like and subscribe.
All right, my final thoughts for tonight. First of all, is I want to first of all I want to thank everybody that's in the chat group in the chat. We appreciate the interaction. It's not always nice when people are making comments, but another thing, we had a great interview this morning with the pro wrestling manager and podcaster, the marvelous Mr. Bell, or Curator Bell, whatever. He goes by a couple different names. He's part of a wrestling podcast called In Your House, which has been ranked in the top 100 on Apple Podcasts, and also it's up there high on the iHeartRadio podcast. The other co-host was just interviewed by Pro Wrestling Illustrated, so they're making some noise. He's a great guy, entertaining guy. So if you missed that interview today, go check it out. It was a great conversation. And then also last night we had pro wrestler Blake Money Right on. That was an awesome interview. If you missed those interviews, go check them out at Gonzo Sports Room, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter. Please hit that subscribe button on YouTube at Gonzo Sports Room. Also, like the judge said, at the Sports Judge on YouTube and at the All Sports All Plays Network. But tomorrow night, it's the reason we done the show tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. I'll be live from Cincinnati, Ohio at Cincy Wrestling Holiday Havoc. You're gonna have Dan the Beast Severn there. If you're a UFC fan, you know who Dan the Beast Severn is. He's gonna be in action. You also have Blake Money Right that was on the show last night's gonna be in action. Zachary Wentz, who's been in that's wrestled at some of the big companies, is gonna be there. There's gonna be some big names there. So check us out tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern, live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, at Gonzo Sports Room, and at the All Sports All Plays Network. And then on Sunday, got another big wrestling show, Summit Pro Wrestling in Greenfield, Indiana. And it's a retirement of TJ Kemp. He's been in the business for over 20 years. Then you also got a big last man standing match between Calvin Tankman, who's been in MLW and some other big promotions, and Midwest legend Hillbilly Jed. Two big guys that they're going to go at it. It's going to be a hard hitting affair. So join us for both those. If you're a pro wrestling fan, join us Friday and Sunday for that. And then Sunday night, we're going to be doing a live watch along in reaction to the Colts and Cowboys game. I know it'll be myself, my dad, Tony Gonzalez is going to be on, and also Jay McLovin, big Dallas Cowboy fan, is going to join us. So it should be a fun time. So come join us for that. But please hit the subscribe button on YouTube, like and follow us on Facebook and Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, all at Gonzo Sports Room. Follow the Sports Judge on Facebook and on YouTube at Sports Judge, and also follow the All Sports All Plays Network. Got a lot of great talent there. And then also, I got one more thing I need to plug. Monday morning, 9 a.m., Monday, December 5th, this Monday, myself and the stat guy, Dustin Reese, will be starting the baseball, or our baseball show Around the Bases. We took a couple weeks, took about a week and a half off. We're going to be starting it back up on Monday. That's the hot stove meetings and everything on baseball are taking off. So
Justin's vacationing, huh? He's vacationing in Orlando right now. I saw his pictures.
So join us Monday morning for Around the Bases. You can find it at Gonzo Sports Room, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, and at the All Sports All Plays Network as well. But you got anything else, Judge?
No, I'm good, man. I got to check out of here soon.
All right. Well, we appreciate everybody watching. We will see you guys Monday night, 11 p.m. Eastern. Hope everybody has a great weekend, and we'll see you guys on Monday. Have a good night.
Games, everyone.